Hey there everybody, it's Nathan Cool, and in this episode I want to talk about a common question that comes up regarding real estate photography gigs for FSBOs and VRBOs. Those are for sale by owners and vacation rental by owners. These are individuals that want to be able to sell a house of their own or rent one of their own properties. So this is a little bit different than a lot of other real estate photography work, and so you're going to be working with, if you do take on one of those gigs, an individual, not a company. So this has some disadvantages, although there's an advantage of a lot of FSBOs and VRBOs out there, especially in the VRBO marketplace, because there's a lot of vacation rentals people want to have refreshed with pictures. But the problem that you have is that with real estate photography, one of the benefits of that is that you get to work with repeat clients. You get to work with real estate agents, brokers, companies, for instance. So even if you're not doing MLS type of listing shoots, if you're even concentrating on architecture, doing work for designers, builders, whatnot, you're still working with another business where you're getting repeat work. Once you get into the realm of trying to work with FSBOs and VRBOs, the whole thing changes. So it's quite common for large companies to work only with other companies. That's why you can go on to somebody's website, a large company's website, and you won't be able to buy a car necessarily through a Toyota website. They're going to direct you to a dealer, someplace that actually sells those, because they're in a different business. They want to make a mass quantity of things, and they don't want to work with the individuals. So the same thing is the case with the FSBO and VRBO market. So there's some differences that you have to be aware of if you're going to go down that route. First off, if you're going to be going down that route, be very careful. When you're working with a new agent, a new real estate agent, new client, or a new business, it's easy to see their background. It's easy enough to find that person, find their real estate license, for instance, or the company online, and see if this is a person you want to be working with. You get a call from a real estate agent, they say they're a real estate agent, you can't find them online, you just wouldn't take on the gig. It just doesn't make sense. The person's lying to you right up front. You take on a real estate photography gig, for instance, from an agent who's only sold one house, and they're telling you that they've got all this future work they can give you. Well, they're not really being truthful about that either. But you get at least an idea of who you're working with. And most of the time, 99% of the clients that call me, they'll tell me, "Hi, I'm a real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway or Remax," or something like that. And even if they text me, they'll often text me their business card showing that they have a license number. So you know you're dealing with someone who can give you repeat work. And this is a key to real estate photography in general, is you want to put the effort into getting those other clients. Now, if you were a wedding photographer, this would be different, because you'd be taking on a gig that's many thousands of dollars, and you might get some referrals off that because young people that get married have friends that will eventually get married also. So there's a referral business there. FSBOs and VRBOs are not that way. If you're working with agents, they often will refer other agents to you, and somebody says, "Who does your photos?" And it's like, "Oh, well, I have Nathan Cool do my photos," or whoever it is. They say, well, so you got a referral. But when you're working with an FSBO, it's a one and done. You're never probably going to see this person again. So is it really worthwhile? Bear this other thing in mind also, is that, quite honestly, they're cheap. They're really cheap. So if they're trying to sell a house, you've got an FSBO, they're trying to put their house up on the market because they don't want to pay a real estate commission. Hey, I get it, I understand. You don't want to be paying for a $500,000 house, let's say a $30,000 commission. But if you're really going to go that route, if you're going to take all the time off from work, do it yourself, you're already trying to save money. So you're being thrifty, that's fine, but you're also, that person will more than likely be thrifty with all the vendors that they're going to use. That includes you. So when I have taken on FSBO and VRBO gigs, they just tend to be more bother than what they're worth. So here's some recommendations. Now bear in mind, I'm talking about individuals being FSBOs and VRBOs. FSBOs will almost always be individuals. VRBOs are a little bit different in that sometimes people categorize that into the Airbnb and some of the bigger markets where you might be working for a property management company, and that's completely different. Property management companies, if they are established, they have their own website and all that, and they've got their vacation rentals that they manage, that's different. They're used to working with vendors, they're used to working with photographers, they know what they're going to be up against and what things will cost. I work, for instance, with a couple different companies that manage some properties down in Malibu. And a few times a year, I go out and I shoot some refresh pictures for some of their listings. They also, every once in a while, have something that they'll end up selling because they no longer want to rent it, or the person that owns it, that they manage for, no longer wants to rent it and they'll put it up for sale. But anyways, that's a company, a reputable company that has a website. So that's different. Here I'm talking about individual FSBOs and VRBOs. So if you are going to take on that work, here are a few things to do right up front to see if they're going to take you serious and also to make it worth your while. First thing, always charge by the hour and make sure it's at least a 2-hour minimum. And that hourly charge, if you're used to charging, let's say you do architectural work, it's $150 an hour or $200 an hour. Let's just say it's $150 an hour. Then what you should be doing is, it's not just, 2-hour minimum, $300. You should think about doubling or tripling that price. You will never see this person again. You don't know what they're going to be doing with the photos. There's no way for you to control that. You'll never get a referral from this person, and if they don't want to pay it, leave those time slots open for repeat work, which will have many thousands of dollars of value as the years goes on because you're satisfying repeat clients. So if you're charging, let's say $150 an hour for architectural work, and you're saying, I don't do architectural work. If you do MLS work, how much is your hourly wage? Think about how long it takes you to do a shoot and then what you charge for that. You'll figure out your hourly wage and then double it or triple it. So if you're doing that $150 an hour, charge $300 to $450 an hour with a 2-hour minimum. So that's anywhere from $600 to $900 just for this shoot. Now you can be able to judge by the size of the place if you'll need more than 2 hours. If somebody's got a 8-bedroom, 9-bath, 8,000 square foot, big old place, then you might say to them, well, that's probably a 4-hour gig. And if you're going to be charging $600 an hour, then charge $2,400. And if you think that's outrageous, it's not. Think about this. If they've got a vacation rental that big, they're going to get a lot of money for it every night. What you're going to charge for a photo shoot is probably one night of rent for that place. Same with the FSBOs. If they're going to be selling someplace that's $500,000, which is cheap in this market, that's $30,000 that they're saving. If they're not willing to spend $1,000, $2,000 for marketing material, move on. You need to start investing your time someplace else. So that's kind of the minimum. The other thing you need to make sure of too is it's not just quoting them that price, but you need to get 50% of whatever you quote them up front before you even book the shoot. And there's nothing wrong with that. All other professional photography genres do that. For instance, weddings, portraits, things like that. Wedding photographers, because they charge thousands of dollars, want that 50% right up front. And just like most wedding photographers, when you show up to the shoot for an FSBO or VRBO, get paid right away. You should be invoicing them the remaining 50% before you even leave the house, and demand that it's paid before you leave the shoot. So those are things to bear in mind, but there's just a little bit more to really be aware of. I guarantee almost every FSBO and VRBO is going to come back and they're going to complain about the pictures, no matter what it is. It's very rare that they don't have some comments. Oh, could you make this look bigger? Oh, could you do this to the photo? Oh, could you Photoshop that out? That'll happen. You need to state in your invoice when you bill it, both with the 50% that you're requiring up front for the booking fee. The other 50% also have it in this invoice, the statement that images are provided as is. That's it. Images are final, payments are final. There are no refunds, and there is no further editing. Any other editing is quoted at a per cost basis per job and is paid upfront before editing is conducted. So anyways, you can see that it might be a little bit of effort to get VRBOs and FSBOs, and if you're hard up for work, you may be really attracted to that, but I can tell you from experience that you're better to put your effort into going for repeat work, not these one-off clients that aren't going to be prepared. They don't know a lot of times what they're really facing out there. They're going to be cheap. That's why they're not using a company to either sell their property or rent the property for them. So be very cautious going into it, but if you do, charge 2 to 3 times the amount, 50% upfront, 50% when you arrive, and it is non-refundable. Images are provided as is. Also be very careful. It can be a dangerous world out there. Know who you're working with. If you can't find this person online at all, then be very cautious about them. There is nothing wrong with getting more information about where their home address is. Obviously, you'll have their phone number if they give you a call. Make sure that you talk to them over the phone. This should not be handled just through text and email. You need to know if you're working with a real person and what you're up against. And if they're not going to be transparent with you about it, then there's something going wrong there. Red flag, move on, get another client that you can find out a background for. Anyways, I hope this was useful for you and that if you get some of these type of gigs that you can apply some of this to your business as well. And if you like this video and you want to see more, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It won't cost anything. And as soon as one of these videos is posted, you'll be the first to know. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, take care, be safe, and get out there and shoot something.